in the rural areas. At the same time, we didn't want to do it like the old tiles way of doing it, which was dry the tiles on the ground.
This is one of the
it's not so bad. Once you
it's not bad at all.
with limestone. I mean, these are like the teachers.
And you designed it?
Yes. I work with a
with a group of designers.
Teacher. No, his name is Nadhir Khalili. He passed away just last year. But this kind of self-built kind of infrastructure that uses soil technology. So think about it. Spanish churches are 300 plus years old and they're still standing. So isn't it possible?
What makes it different?
Yeah, can we just go, if school is important and safety from the storm, I'll talk to you more about that.
Yeah.
Can we use this kind of old technologies mixed with modern science for a social purpose? So the nice thing there is these people become the contractors themselves, whether they want to build it for their own house or other people. So it's using this kind of mixed kind of service and technology. The second one really was, how about with the lack of wood?
Wood, yeah.
We have 12% forest cover. We're trying to grow that. So the next venture of my shelter was to look for bamboo. How can bamboo, which was thought of as the material of the poor man's housing, how can we grow this kind of self-sustaining, which is what, as I said, source it locally, then you have local providers.
Yes, exactly.
So the people that want to build it buy from the local provider instead of the cash flow going out of the community.
Yes,
they're poor because they're cash flow poor.
Yeah, and
so,
they don't know how to manage.
And they don't know how to manage. But well, they need certain things, but they're only. So can we have bamboo farmers supply the lack of building schools and building residences? And can we grow bamboo? And that will be the constant supply for the next generation, as I said, so middle ground.
It's really like recycling in a way, but I mean, you're able to fit it into a system where this will do this.
Right. So even schools, something that is considered as a cash burn system, that you need, can these have local models? And so we're passionate about that. That the next generation of lacking 10,000, 15,000 schools, there are some ways to do it now. If you have money to build out of cement, steel, and glass, and then go ahead.
Yeah.
But sometimes on these island communities, there's not enough money. So
which communities have you extended to?
Mostly the Surigao, and then we're now going around the Visayas area, building several of these structures. There's also the bamboo school, which I think is also here, and it's really about using indigenous materials like bamboo. If something breaks, you can buy it locally. These are all local
designer
is Elina Jamil, and we threw a global competition to ask people for the next disaster resilient kind of schools. So these are like the models. This is how it looks like, and this is the building itself. So we had a lot of help from the National Disaster Coordinating Council. We have the Kamsur government with El Rey Villafuerte.
Project was in Kamsur.
Yes, the first project is in Kamsur. And we have Petron, we have all of these people like really looking for, the next biggest problem is not building new classrooms, but it's really, also rebuilding them, right? But it's really those that are damaged by storm, those that are partially damaged by storm. And how do you replace the roof? How do you know, when there's no budget for cement, steel, and glass, how do you build infrastructure using indigenous materials, local talent, but can be able to, provide the necessary things? So we're looking for this kind of businesses where we can employ labor, we can employ materials, but at the same time meet a social concern. And so everybody's working together for this kind of out of the box. It's really
it's
like
really out of the
box. If it's a new way of dealing with it.
It's something, people, I think it's a good thing that you mentioned the out of the box. A lot of people are also much more concerned about just what they see. They don't really go beyond, okay, I see a lot of, restaurants, malls, retail outlets.
Right.
That's it. But I mean, as you said, you go all the way to different places and really find out what the concern is there. So
the main point that I think that my shelter wants to do is social enterprise is a totally new animal, which is the purest form of giving charity is to make yourself obsolete.
Of
and
course,
that sounds
yeah, exactly.
that sounds logical.
I know.
But usually it's like a funnel. Help me, help them.
Of course.
But really the concept should be, how can I be so efficient, give them a sustainable source that I can actually replicate myself and go to other places by empowering them. Remember, this thing about helping people is not a, a one sector kind of thing, but it's to make the most out of your formula.
I think people should really value empowerment, because a lot of, you teach them and then you leave them behind. It has to be, people have to be independent, have be taught to be independent, and they can grow on their own, and eventually they can help others grow.
Right. I mean, the kind of consumption mentality that we have today with charities is very dangerous. Let's make a big band. Let's have a rock concert. Of 5% to you. Thank you. I mean, or let's give you food. Thank you. I mean, it's just, we get press. It's become so consumptive that basically what they're buying is airtime, but they're not really taking that next step. So they're trying to use tax deductible as really an extended advertising budget, instead of really respecting the fact that the company is withholding taxpayers' money because we entrust them to do a better job at it than the government. Or maybe, a new, I don't want to say that, but what I'm saying is making a new program that the government is not doing. But to just throw it away in consumptive kind of, band events and then tax deductible, 2% for whoever.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense on the long term anymore. And so that there's responsibility. I was talking about the new dimension of leadership, of business leadership. The people also who are in the jobs of this CSR must also look at it na they should do something that has longer reaching, instead of just a job that they get that project done.
For now.
Yeah, it's like, I want this amount of ad space. Or I need to cash burn this amount of taxpayers' money. I mean, that is no respect to the taxpayer. And at the same time, the poverty levels that this country is facing. And so, with so much more money going up out of this NGO, but then the crossover is the impact on the Millennium Development Goals is going lower and lower. So, there is something about this irresponsibility in leadership, especially those that are handling the offices of CSR. Not all, but I'm saying there's a large portion that is not respecting the taxpayers' money that has been entrusted to them. So it's a public trust, not given only to local government, but to this kind of individuals.
Okay, that's very interesting. But before we continue, let's pause for another commercial break, and we'll be back with Mr. Illac Diaz and My Shelter Foundation.